Good evening, everyone. I'm Dan DeLatorre, and this is an emergency breaking news story here on Dan's Comic Book Corner. The date is March 31st. This is not an April Fool's joke, just in case this is portrayed on April 1st. But there is something very, very important I'd like to share with the audience. I feel that here on the Ian Hoodrat show, if we are going to be any value to the audience, we need to give information as it unfolds. There could be a very, very valuable speculation towards the end of the Moon Knight show. Let's get into the Moon Knight show here. Now, we're not going to spoil anything. Moon Knight started the first episode this past Wednesday. It was outstanding. And as one would expect, this is a new character to be profiled by the MCU. So they set up Moon Knight's background story. And if you know anything about Moon Knight, his origin starts here in Egypt. He's an Egyptian. His powers come from Egyptian gods. And I don't want to give away all that. You can look this up on your own. But this triggered my thought process because, again, I'm a decades-long collector. And I was thinking about one main character that is sort of out there right now, that's sort of out in the open. And he showed up at the end of episode 6 of the Loki show, and it's this character here, Kang the Conqueror. Here he is in episode 8 when he first showed up, facing the Avengers for the first time, played brilliantly by Jonathan Major. Now, the speculation is this. Kang shows up in this issue here, Avengers 8, which showed up in, I believe, September of 1964. But another character named Rama-Tut shows up in Fantastic Four 19. Now, that issue was almost a year prior to the Avengers 8. And Rama-Tut later becomes Kang, or a variation of Kang. I mention this because my speculation is this. As the show unfolds for the Moon Knight show, they may do what they did in Avengers Infinity War, where the character Thanos appears. They brought up Thanos towards the end of Infinity War. He was a main star of Infinity War then in Endgame. But in between Infinity War and Endgame, as Thanos did his famous snapping of the fingers and eliminates half the population in all of the universe, many little tidbits were leaked along the way. In Ant-Man and the Wasp, a few others that I can't remember, but it led up to the Endgame movie. And it was, of course, wrapped up very nicely in the Endgame movie. Now, Kang shows up in episode 6 of the Loki show. And it was a beautiful portrayal, but it was a very open-ended story. Now, why I mention that? Because if I'm right, and this is, again, just speculation, if Kang shows up at, let's say, the last episode, which probably would be episode 6, which would air on May 4th, in the form of Rama-Tut, well, that would be a major spike. That would cause a major spike, rather, in Fantastic Four 19. Now, I looked at the numbers of Fantastic Four 19. They're roughly about half of what Avengers 8 is going for, because obviously Avengers 8 is the first full appearance of Kang. But again, that is Kang in his first incarnation. I say there's a very good possibility the numbers on that particular book could double, if not more, because there would be wild speculation. Remember what happened during the WandaVision show? When the White Vision shows up and the issue in West Coast Avengers profiling the White Vision showed up, that used to be a dollar bin book. But that went into the hundreds of dollars or maybe more, depending on the grade. And that happened overnight. So again, if my experience is correct, the pieces fit together, that Rama-Tut shows up towards the end of the Moon Knight show. Moon Knight series, rather. And I'm not saying wait till the last episode. I think there's a lot of content in this Moon Knight series because it's off to a great start. But if they end it with that particular character, that dovetails perfectly with the ongoing Kang story. Because 2 days later, on May 6th, is the Doctor Strange Multitude of Madness movie. And think of what the MCU is trying to do, if I'm right. And Rama-Tut does show up. That absolutely accelerates and excites the audience, and they will greatly increase their ticket sales going into the Doctor Strange movie, which many more elements of Kang will be revealed, and it's a wonderful, wonderful thing that they're doing. But this is also what you do when you keep the audience wanting more. But Rama-Tut has not been mentioned, and again, he is an Egyptian character. And since Moon Knight has an Egyptian origin, the pieces fit together. Now, I'm not telling you what to do. what to buy or how much do you want to spend on comics. I'm simply someone out there in the comic community that shares my experience. So you make your own decision. I see this as a win-win. If you buy this book and nothing happens, you still have an incredible key. However, if you buy this book and I'm correct, and this key becomes not so much a grail, but a golden key, if you will, it doubles in value or more, then you've won a lot of money. You can do whatever you want with it. I see it as my job to bring these things forward, and this is an exclusive that you're seeing only on the Ian Hoodrat show. So again, this was breaking news. Any questions? But by the way, I really appreciate those people leaving comments in the chat. I try to answer all that I can. But this is our first breaking news story. I'll be happy to talk to anyone about any level, but I would strongly suggest that you take a look at the Fantastic Four 19 book, because I think you're on the ground floor. I looked before getting on the air tonight. No one's talking about this. This is an exclusive, and it's here on the Ian Hoodrat Show and Dan's Comic Book Corner. I want to thank Ian for putting this together last minute. I appreciate it. Everyone, I'm Dan De La Torre. Good luck to you, and we'll see you in the next episode.